I have this story from Reuters. Check this out. Trump and 17 states back Texas bid to undo his election loss at the Supreme Court. Reuters reports President Donald Trump and 17 U.S. states on Wednesday threw their support behind a long-shot lawsuit by Texas seeking to overturn his election loss by asking the U.S. Supreme Court to throw out the voting results in 4 states. Trump, defeated by President-elect Joe Biden in the November 3rd election, filed a motion with the court asking the 9 justices to let him intervene and become a plaintiff in the suit filed on Tuesday by Republican-governed Texas against Georgia, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin. If the justices let Trump join the lawsuit, it would create the extraordinary circumstance of a sitting U.S. president asking the top court to decide that the millions of votes cast in the 4 states did not count. The Republican president lost to Biden in the 4 election battleground states after winning them in the 2016 election. Writing on Twitter, Trump said, "This is the big one. Our country needs a victory." In a separate brief, lawyers for 17 states, led by Missouri's Republican Attorney General Eric Schmidt, also urged the justices to hear the case. Election law experts have said the Texas lawsuit stands little chance of success and lacks legal merit. And I will add as well, we actually had a Trump-supporting lawyer on the show, Will Chamberlain, the other day, who also didn't think it was going to make it. So take that with a grain of salt. I know a lot of people are excited by this. And I think outside of that, there's political ramifications as to why I think they will end up taking this. But I'm not a lawyer. Reuters goes on to say the lawsuit, the latest in a series of election challenges brought by Trump's campaign and supporters that so far have failed in numerous courts, was brought by Ken Paxton, the Republican Attorney General of Texas and an ally of the president. Here we go. In addition to Missouri, the states joining Texas were Alabama, Arkansas, Florida, Indiana, Kansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Montana, Nebraska, North Dakota, Oklahoma, South Carolina, South Dakota, Tennessee, Utah, and West Virginia.
Wow.
All of the states were represented by Republican officials in the filing. All but 3 of the states have Republican governors. They go on to say Trump has made false statements, et cetera, but I think we got the gist of the story. And I'm just going to say, I wouldn't be surprised if the other Republican states, of which I think by state houses, we have 29 states that are Republican. I don't see why they all wouldn't sign on either, except I think, the states that are actually being sued who are Republican as well. So that means there's 25 states that could potentially sign on supporting this lawsuit. Now, as of right now, my understanding is they've just filed for leave, which means they're asking permission to sue. We'll see if it happens, but this is kind of crazy. The president is joining Republican states suing 4 states that went for Biden in order to win the election. Is this civil war?
It's not civil war, but this is 1/3 of the United States saying that they are contesting the election. This is significant, and we'll see how it plays out in the Supreme Court. A lot of people have their different opinions on this, but this shows you how this country is divided and how this divide is going to keep growing.
Very bad.
Yes.
I mean, look, years ago I was talking about the violence in the streets, Antifa, Proud Boys and stuff. And people were saying, I was like, I feel like we're on the trajectory for a civil war. I feel like it's possible because you have growing tribal factions. You have the culture war, which became political when it reached, politicians. Then we started seeing, populist left, populist right getting into positions, federal positions, getting elected. So now it's in government. Now it's in the presidency. Now it's in the Supreme Court. And now you have the states lining up. This is crazy. Earlier today, I was like, when you have 5 states, lining up against 4 states, we're starting to see the states draw those lines. This to me is nuts. If 17 states are basically saying Joe Biden shouldn't be president, what happens if Joe Biden becomes president? How are these states going to function? We also had the Oath Keepers, the largest militia in the country. Their founder said, what's his name? Stuart Rhodes.
Yep.
He said that half the country will not view anything out of Joe Biden's mouth as legitimate, that he's not the president. So this is getting spicy.
Well, there's going to be a lot of 10th Amendment arguments and a lot of sheriffs and a lot of local politicians kind of trying to stand their ground. And we're going to have another big battle, as we've seen under the Bill Clinton presidency, between the states and the big federal government, where we saw large incidences like Waco and Ruby Ridge. I mean, a lot of people are talking about the worst of the worst. I don't know. Some people are trying to be more pragmatic, saying maybe it won't be that bad. But just from your kind of expertise politically, how do you see these things moving forward? Because some people are saying there's going to be a big clash. There's going to be a big fight. Some people are saying, well, no one's really going to care. Everyone's going to go back to normal. How do you see it from your kind of political expertise?
I think that right now everybody is anticipating the worst possible scenario. I think, first of all, it's very fear-based thinking, and that's something that we all like to do. I think people are very into their labels. They're very into teams. This is very tribalist. And so people are sort of doubling down. Now, did those same people have the actual, wherewithal to follow up with that, to actually do something? Does this actually go anywhere? Does this hit the streets? Does this become... I don't know. I don't think so. I think that depending on what happens with this legally will kind of determine where it goes. And yet there's going to always be a contingency of people that are going to say this is illegitimate.
Well, so you voted for Biden.
I did, not proud of it.
Yeah, you were very...
Not proud of it. And again, it's one of those things, I am not the person that's going to stand here and argue for that. Right. It wasn't, I could just as easily have not. I went back and forth. It wasn't this was not an easy choice. It's not something I'm proud of.
I didn't vote for Trump or Hillary in 2016.
I didn't either.
And I think it's because on policy issues, I lean left on a lot of policy issues.
So did you go, I voted green. In 2016, I voted for Stein.
Trump. Oh, in 2016, I didn't vote.
Oh, okay.
I put my feet up on the desk. I was hanging out.
Yeah.
Do you know Cassandra Fairbanks?
No.
She's still a Trump supporter, right?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
But I was hanging out with her. She was a progressive that. I think that year, right, 2016, and then she flipped because because of the wokeness. It went from her being this big activist supporting progressive causes and social justice issues to being attacked because I guess they call her passing white, even though she's part Puerto Rican or whatever. So she ends up becoming a Trump supporter. I'm hanging out with her. I put my feet up on a desk. I'm just laughing as the results come in. Seeing Hillary Clinton lose, it was comeuppance for the Democratic Party for the dirty games they played.
Oh, well, I never supported her. There was no universe wherein I was voting for Hillary Clinton. That wasn't happening. It really came down to, for me, in that election, I voted green. I'm always, as opposed to abstaining. Any support of third parties. If we can get third parties to get 5%. So really that was, and Jill Stein was fine. I didn't.
If I could ask you, what was the determining factor that made you vote for Biden but not for Hillary?
Okay.
What was that decision? Because it's interesting to really deep dive into these things and understand what went behind this.
Okay, so like I said, I am about the policies. I despise both of those people in terms of policy. Let's be I have no delusion about Joe Biden. Really, what it came down to for me was when Trump basically signaled to the Proud Boys. And again, it's theater and it's hyperbole. I'm not saying he hurt my feelings. This isn't that. I'm not those people. And when he indicated that he wouldn't support a peaceful transition of power. And that is a problem for me because there's something I do believe in is our Constitution. So I take that seriously. So when it comes to a lot of things, I am very live and let live. The fact that he was seemingly, to me, directly threatening basically the foundation of what is our process, that was not okay with me. I never, it was never about Joe Biden.
Don't you think Hillary Clinton did that and the Democrats did that? I know you're not a big fan of the establishment politicians.
No.
But, for 4 years, I guess the argument from the right is, for 4 years, they accused Trump of literally being an agent of Russia. They spent $30 million doing this investigation, which turned out nothing. They ended up going after, I think the prosecution of Michael Flynn is nightmarish when you look at all the details. And then so Trump basically is like, why am I going to give them the courtesy that they didn't give me?
I agree, but this is one of those whataboutism things, right? So I'm, as an adult, I am dealing with what I have in front of me right now. I have never supported Hillary Clinton. I find her despicable for so many reasons. I could write a dissertation.
I wonder if everyone's cheering in the chat right now. Hillary's awful. Yeah. Everybody hates her.
No, she's horrible. She's a horrible person.
I think we could all agree on that.
Yeah, no, she is a horrible person. Yes. I find her infinitely more nefarious than I find Joe Biden. Yes. Yeah. I find him more hapless. I find him he's just a tool. He's an establishment tool. I find Hillary to be quite nefarious.
But Kamala Harris is the actual
Kamala
candidate.
Is Hillary.
Right. Oh, so you voted for Kamala.
Well, I didn't, and I plan on spending the next 4 years of my life making sure that there's a really decent primary challenge. I mean, I have been very clear that there is no universe. See, for the same reason I find Hillary nefarious, I find Kamala nefarious. I don't find Joe Biden nefarious, and if he's the pause button, I view him as the pause button, but we still need to get our stuff in order. Yes.
I didn't say it.
A ship.
We have to write our ship. Yes, but we do, and it's a serious problem. So no, and I don't see him as solving anything.
But I think, come on, Joe Biden's on the way out. I'm not trying to be mean or anything, but Nancy Pelosi, created that commission or whatever of presidents to
also on her way out.
Yeah, well, yeah, I certainly hope so. I can't believe that she keeps winning, but anyway, she creates this commission about removing a president if they're not cognitively fit or whatever. And everyone's like, you're trying to get rid of Trump. And she goes, no, it's for a future president.
No. They're wanting to install Kamala. That's been their goal for the past 4 years. They were sticking her there one way or the other.
Kamala.
I mean, Biden even talked about this.
I can't even say that I wouldn't necessarily. I really can't say. Again, like when I made that decision, this is not something where I'm, again, like I wish I could tell you, I defend that and this. I don't. I really don't. It really could have been a coin toss on the day that I did it. I hear what you're saying. I've met a lot of people. One of the stories I tell a lot is I went on Glenn Beck's show. I was in Texas. Where is he? He's in Austin or something. And I was in an Uber on the way to the studio, and the guy who was driving was the child of immigrants. He asked me what I was doing. I said I was going to Glenn Beck, and he's like, "Oh yeah, politics and stuff like that." And he's like, "So you're a Trump supporter?" At the time, I was like, "No, I think the media lies about him. I don't think he's that bad, but I'm not." And he was like, "Yeah." He said, "I voted for him, and man, I just wish he would stop talking and stop tweeting the way he does, because it's like it's hard to defend sometimes, And I'm like, this is a regular guy who's driving Uber who likes the president but is having an issue with the president's character and the things he says, particularly around we'll see what happens with the election and stuff. I personally don't think it was the most bombastic thing he said in terms of we'll see how it plays out, not a peaceful transition or whatever, we'll sue. And now it's certainly not well, I don't know if it's, you can't call it peaceful. It's going through the courts. We don't know
yet.
Yeah. The truth is we don't know what's going to happen come, what is it, January 21st?
I'm kind of scared. I don't think there's a way out. I don't think, look.
Well, he keeps building the fence higher.
Well, oh yeah, but that's a meme too. The wall just got 2 feet higher. Joe Biden's son is now, they're announcing this. What is this? That they've said that he's under criminal investigation or tax investigation.
Taxes, yeah.
I mean, there's so much there, and it's crazy that this story broke. Of course, it was an October surprise, and Twitter suppresses it, Facebook suppresses it, the big news outlets won't cover it, and now we get this video. I don't know if you saw the video where there's the Chinese professor Di Dongsheng, where he basically said the Bidens are compromised.
Yeah. And
he was like, "Who do you think got Hunter Biden all that money?" So I look at Donald Trump. And I see the peace agreements that have come through in the past several months. I like it. He's trying to withdraw the troops from Afghanistan, and he's being blocked by both Democrats and Republicans. I don't like the establishment.
And my congressperson couldn't get behind that. So I understand that. And that's somebody with a nice big D behind her name. She couldn't support withdrawing from Afghanistan.
Why?
She couldn't even get behind reducing the Pentagon budget by 10%.
This is Debbie Wasserman Schultz. Oh, she's awful. She's Hillary Jr.
That's what I'm saying. So, when people start looking at the letters, I would urge them to look at the policy choices.
I am actually fearful that a Joe Biden presidency is, he's hapless. But he's going to sell us out. Like the Obama administration. You're familiar with the Trans-Pacific Partnership, I imagine.
Yes, I know the TPP.
And I imagine you're opposed to it.
Of course.
But Joe Biden's going to bring us all back into that
Of
stuff.
course. But I also think, and I hope, that he gets us back into the Iran deal. Because for the same reasons that I was applauding Trump in terms of when he was going into North Korea, and of course the Democrats were all, they attack him from the right all the time. It's infuriating. We'll see, as the true left, because I'm the left, we don't like that. So that's, you're attacking him for the sake of attacking him. You're attacking him on the few things that we might actually come to agreement on. And so I do like the idea of getting back into the Iran deal. That is something that I support. So, he, in the similar way, was going to undo everything Obama did.
They're going to Tulsi Gabbard you. Call you right wing and all this stuff.
They can, except for my policies speak to the complete left.
But they don't care.
Well, I guess it depends on who you say are they. Who's they?
The media establishment and the Democratic establishment.
They ignore me anyway. The truth is, and you want to know if something ever was going to protect me, is that what benefits Debbie Wasserman Schultz best is if I'm completely ghosted. If my name comes up and I come up, then that's going to draw attention to that race, to that district, to her, and that never benefits her. So I am more at risk of being completely ghosted than I am of being trashed.
Luke once yelled at Debbie Wasserman Schultz.
Yes, we asked her some very serious questions about Obama's kill list, which she told me face-to-face didn't exist.
This was big news, though, because everyone knew it existed. The New York Times said it existed.
Yeah.
Obama was signing off every Tuesday on who they were going to kill. And then she's like, that's not a real thing. And everybody was like, whoa, she's lying.
And she was the head of the DNC. And she, of course, and people forget, she had to resign in disgrace from the DNC.
Oh, but our district reelected her.
Yes. And then Hillary Clinton
took
her under her claws right afterwards and literally brought
claws
her in.
With a W or AU?
I'm not even going to get in there. Brought her in and gave her a job right away. So So, yeah,
She's
Deputy
protected.
Wasserman Schultz isn't a fan of mine either, but, there's a lot to learn from each other.
Thanks for checking out this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. We do the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m., so come back to check us out when we go live. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, hit the notification bell, and we are also available on all podcast platforms for free if you want to listen to us there. Thanks for hanging out, and we will see you all next time.